The third time Emily asked for a divorce because of Michael, I agreed, but then she seemed to regret it. You better not be playing hard to get. I'm not kidding. Looking at the face I'd loved for 5 years, I smiled, finally feeling a sense of relief. Neither am I replied. Let's get divorced. Emily stared coldly at my signature on the divorce papers. Are you serious? Seeing my silence, she looked up, her eyes filled with complex emotions. I'm not joking, David. Don't play games with me. I've seen these kinds of tricks before. I lowered my head, trying to recall Emily's smile, but the memory had grown hazy. When did it start? When did she stop bothering to smile at me? Probably on our wedding day, marrying a man she didn't love, then being stuck with me, unable to divorce when her lover returned. She had every reason to hate me. Why would she smile? I took a deep breath, looking at her calmly. Yes, I know. I agree to the divorce. Her brow furrowed instantly, and she took a step forward, as if checking if I was pulling a stunt. David, this is your last chance. I looked up. Her eyes were still icy. I knew she only asked again to ensure I wouldn't back out. Everyone knew that once we divorced, she and Michael planned to fly abroad. Late at night, I'd imagined this moment countless times, the heartache suffocating. But now, it felt surprisingly light. I could really let go. Emily, I called softly. A flicker of hope passed through her eyes, quickly replaced by a knowing look. I knew you couldn't let go. Before she finished, I took off the necklace and placed it in her palm. Once during an argument, I'd asked why she never wore a wedding ring. She'd been drunk, looking at me with a longing I'd never seen. Only Michael has the right to leave a mark on my ring finger. That's why we'd skipped rings at the wedding. Only this necklace, custom, made with her name engraved. Her words died in her throat. 5 years ago, I'd married her joyfully, thinking it was happiness. Now, we were parting. 5 years of mutual torment were finally over. Goodbye, Emily. Before marrying her, I'd never known Michael existed. At our wedding, I followed her gaze to a man who looked remarkably like me. Then I realized the whole thing was a joke. But I loved Emily too much. After inner struggles, I stayed. During toasts, Michael approached with a polite smile. I've heard Emily mention you often. Thank you for being there for her. To bless you both. His tone felt like a declaration. I looked at Emily, but she wouldn't meet my eyes. Frowning, she snatched the glass and drank it in one gulp. The way Michael looked at her was familiar to the look for a beloved. Yet I was the one standing beside her. After the reception, we saw guests off. Michael was last, his eyes red. Emily looked at him sympathetically, swallowing comfort when she noticed me. A taxi arrived. As she reached for the door, their hands brushed. Even though she jerked back, I saw it. Are you still wearing the watch I gave you? Michael asked, hope in his eyes. She paused. Yeah, I got used to it. They talked, reminiscing about a past I wasn't part of. I felt like a third wheel. That night, we had our first major fight. I demanded she take off the watch. She frowned, impatient. Stop being unreasonable. I yelled, asking why she'd hidden her past. She turned away in silence. Finally, I broke down, grabbing her shirt. You were first loves that you promised forever. Why hide it? What am I here? She shoved me, trying to leave. If anything would happen, it would have. Did you think it would ever be your turn? Deep down, I knew our marriage wouldn't last, but I clung to hope. I loved her so much it clouded my judgment. I thought love would change her. Maybe I loved her too much or not enough. Looking back, a quick break would have been better. Her face darkened, as if I'd sinned. I scoffed, was she mad I agreed too easily? All right, let's meet tomorrow to finalize it. As I waited for the elevator, she blocked me. David, what's your game? I almost laughed. What game? I've decided to let you go and free myself. I stepped back, removing her arm. I agree to the divorce. You can involve lawyers if you want. I have no interest in your life with Michael. God, I thought, I must have looked cool then. But her eyes were red. Why agree this time? I'm just exhausted. Was it because of my birthday? It had been so unpleasant I'd erased it. She remembered. The first time she asked for divorce was after that day. I'd planned a marine park trip a week in advance. She was supposed to meet me at noon, but she didn't show. A friend sent a photo. Emily in a white dress, Michael in the shirt she'd bought for me. They looked like a couple. While I waited, she was at the movies with him. I sat in the park until closing, then went home. She scolded me. If I didn't answer, it was important. Look at you. Anger erupted. We fought. Your important thing was a movie with Michael. You want to get back with him, don't you? Silence. Then she said, yes. I want to start over with Michael. I love him. I wish I'd married him. Are you satisfied? Being with you is exhausting. It was just a movie. Can't we celebrate another time? She still didn't get why I was angry. After that, she kept handing me divorce papers, knowing I wouldn't sign, mocking me. It's your fault, David. If I'd known, I never would have married you. And now, here she was dredging up the past again. When I didn't answer, Emily pushed, repeating, is it because of the birthday? I looked at her face. I don't know when exactly it happened, but I'd lost all patience for explaining things to her. Even if I had a million things I wanted to say, I no longer had any desire for her to hear them. She doesn't love me, so she'll never put me first. If we absolutely had to assign some tidy reason to our failed marriage. A faint smile played on my lips as I looked at her. Yes, it's because of my birthday. Fine. I give her the answer she seemed to want. Emily stood rooted to the spot, her gaze fixed on me, lost in thought. Her lips were slightly parted, as if she wanted to say something else, but after hesitating, she ultimately chose silence. After a long pause, Emily finally managed to speak, her voice strained. You can stay. The house is yours. Hearing this, I immediately grabbed my bag and turned back inside. Who was I to argue with that? Once inside, Emily started quietly packing her bags. Truthfully, there wasn't much left for her to take. She had already moved most of her things to Michael's place. Aside from a few changes of clothes and her toiletries, there was nothing of hers left here. I sat on the sofa, watching her go back and forth with a strange sense of ease. Feelings really are bizarre. Just the day before, I'd wanted nothing more than to keep Emily chained to my side. Now I was annoyed by how slowly she was packing. What time tomorrow? I asked her. Emily acted as if she hadn't heard me, just kept sorting through her things. I felt a surge of impatience and asked again, louder. I said, what time tomorrow? Emily stood with her back to me, her hands hanging limply at her sides. Emily, I pressed, ask what time we're getting the divorce. Suddenly, she violently kicked over the suitcase on the floor. She spun around, staring hard at me, her dark eyes swirling with too many emotions: accusation, blame, a hint of hurt and confusion. I couldn't decipher it all, and I didn't have the energy to try. After a long moment, Emily spoke. First thing tomorrow morning, when the office opens. My face remained impassive, but bitterness churned inside me. It wasn't Emily I would miss, but the version of myself who had loved her so deeply. Perhaps I'd never love anyone that passionately again. I got up, righted the suitcase she had kicked over, and placed it near her hand. It's getting late. You should go, David. I watched her quietly, waiting. How did we go from being in love to where we are today? It's all. She had barely started when I cut her off with a short, mocking laugh. It's all my fault, I know. My voice dripped with sarcasm. You've said that so many times I'm sick of hearing it. I smiled easily, as if telling a joke that had nothing to do with me. The countless heart-wrenching memories were hidden behind that seemingly effortless smile. My mistake was loving someone I shouldn't have, believing words I shouldn't have believed. I hope you spend the rest of your life unhappy. Michael was already waiting downstairs to pick her up. Before leaving, Emily kept turning back. David, I'm leaving. Okay, go. I'm really leaving now. All right, go well then. The third time she tried to stall, I'd had enough. I pushed her out the door and slammed it shut. Emily stood in the hallway, feeling the lingering warmth from my push. On the video feed from the intercom, she just stood there staring blankly at her suitcase. I didn't miss the longing and reluctance in her eyes, but so what? That night, I slept more soundly than I had in a long time. The heavy weight on my chest was finally gone. No more being jolted awake by nightmares of Michael and Emily's happiness. It was all over. The next day, Michael walked up from across the street with Emily on his arm. I stood alone. Michael greeted me warmly, like we were the closest of friends. I ignored him completely, brushed past them without a word, and strode into the Civil Affairs Bureau. It was a weekday morning, and the hall wasn't crowded. Emily and I finished the paperwork quickly. Looking at the receipt in my hand, there was a 30-day cooling-off period for the divorce. In another 30 days, I'd be completely cut off from Emily. Gazing up at the clear blue sky, I felt a little dazed. Once, I'd held a marriage registration receipt just like this, dreaming of the future, vowing to be with her forever. Emily stood beside me silently, while Michael nearby looked as thrilled as if he'd won the lottery. It was still early. I suddenly felt like going to the supermarket, Maybe cook a big meal tonight. Suddenly, a woman's voice called from behind me. David. In an instant, a familiar figure surfaced from the depths of my memory. I turned around. She was already standing right in front of me. She took off her sunglasses, glanced at Emily beside me, her voice tinged with amusement. I heard something good happened to you recently. Turns out you got divorced. Happy divorce. I hadn't expected Lisa to show up here. The last time we met, I think, was at the wedding. My memory of that day is remarkably clear. The night before the wedding, a friend called, telling me Lisa had passed out drunk at that bar we always went to and wouldn't go home no matter what they said. I sighed and asked my friend to hand the phone to Lisa. She took the phone, her voice slurring. David, congratulations on getting married. I'm really happy for you. I felt helpless but couldn't bring myself to scold her, so I softened my tone. If you're happy, why drink so much? Will you even be able to get up for the wedding tomorrow? After a brief silence, there was still no sound from the other end. I patiently coaxed her again. Even if you're happy for me, you need to take care of yourself. Just go home and rest now, okay? MMM. On the wedding day, Lisa showed up on time as a bridesmaid. She stood beside me, a polite smile on her face, helping me greet the guests. Back then, watching her bustling around so thoughtfully, I even praised her. You're amazing. Anyone who didn't know better might think it was your wedding. Lisa just smiled without saying anything. Only my friend beside me gave me a look like I was an idiot, then shook their head meaningfully. Of course she's putting her heart into it for you. At the time, I only had eyes for Emily and didn't pay attention to what my friend said. The ceremony began, and I stood on the platform with Emily on my arm. Below, Lisa's gaze never left me, her eyes holding an emotion I couldn't decipher. She said, David, I wish you a lifetime of happiness. Lisa left before the wedding was even over. I tried contacting her afterward, but I never got a reply. Over time, I eventually pushed the matter to the back of my mind. Seeing her again 5 years later, I felt momentarily disoriented. Lisa laughed and poked my head just like she used to, leaning her face close to mine. You haven't forgotten me, have you? The familiar scent of her perfume pulled me back to the present. It was the one I'd given her for her birthday once. I didn't expect her to still be using it. Looking at her face, an inexplicable anger flared up inside me, disappearing suddenly and then reappearing just as suddenly. Why would I remember someone like you? Lisa burst out laughing. Well then, should we get acquainted? Her teasing made me smile despite myself. I asked why she was here. Besides my friends, I hadn't told anyone about the divorce. But Lisa just gave a vague reply. Fate, I guess. Emily's voice cut in abruptly. She was staring intently at Lisa, and although she didn't speak, I could clearly see the hostility in her eyes. I ignored her and pulled out my phone, intending to call our friends. Since you're back, let's call everyone and get together tonight. Lisa pulled me closer to her side. No need. I already talked to them. Tonight, same old place. The same old place at the bar we used to hang out at all the time. David hurt his stomach pulling all-nighters last year. He can't drink, Emily interjected. Silence fell around us. I looked at Emily, confused. What are you doing? Emily seemed to realize she'd overstepped, awkwardly turning away to avoid my eyes. Lisa, however, got fired up and shot back at Emily, refusing to back down. What right do you have to butt into other people's business? Emily gritted her teeth and snapped back viciously. The cooling-off period isn't over. I'm still legally his wife. Listening to Emily, I almost laughed. Just 2 weeks ago, she was saying, I can't wait to divorce you, honestly seeming even more eager than I was. Lisa glanced at Emily, then turned to the pale-faced Michael beside her, smirking mockingly. Having second thoughts? Does he agree? Emily finally seemed to notice Michael, quickly grabbing his hand. Michael, that's not what I meant. TSK. Trying to have it both ways, are we? I had to hand it to Lisa. She knew how to land a punch. I never liked it when Lisa argued that I used to always warn her to watch what she said, that words could cause trouble. But right now, I was glad the person who would shield me 5 years ago was still stepping in front of me when I needed her. After her outburst, Lisa shot me a quick glance out of the corner of her eye. I knew she was worried I might be upset. You know what gives you the right to talk like that? Michael pointed a trembling finger at Lisa, shaking with anger. Lisa rolled her eyes. Because you knew damn well what you were doing when you became the other woman. I couldn't hold it in anymore and burst out laughing. It was the first time I'd felt genuinely happy in a long, long time. People really are selfish. Michael's face flushed red, but he knew he had no ground to stand on. Emily, meanwhile, was just staring at me, seemingly lost in thought as I laughed. "Let's go," Emily mumbled, head down, and turned to leave. Lisa couldn't resist twisting the knife. "Oh, looks like she's ditching you." I stood there, a wave of emotion washing over me. The Emily I remembered was always looking down on me, criticizing me, showing her distaste, even belittling me that no matter where we were. I never complained, not once, because I loved her. But now I didn't. How pathetic. People are like that, aren't they? Chasing after the moon, then tossing it aside like trash once they have it. Our plans changed from a bar to a hot pot place. Our other friend had to work late, so it was just Lisa and me facing each other in a private booth. The atmosphere felt slightly charged. Lisa picked up some cooked duck intestines with her chopsticks and placed them in my bowl. I looked at her, surprised. "You remembered I liked duck intestines." "I remember everything about you." The room was quiet except for the soft bubbling of the hot pot broth. Steam rose between us, blurring Lisa's face, but I could hear my own heart pounding like a drum. Emily had hated gamey smells that she used to say I smelled like a barnyard after eating such things, that it was disgusting. After she said that, I stopped eating them altogether. I changed myself to please Emily, but she took it for granted. She probably didn't even remember. It was insignificant to her. Early last year, when Michael moved to Haiching, Emily started staying out almost every night. I could never reach her, never knew where she was. Tonight, I ate the hot pot defiantly. Duck intestines, chicken gizzards, pork stomach. Stuffing myself. Lisa just watched and smiled. The next day, I was woken by knocking. I opened the door to find Emily standing there. "What is it?" "Oh, I forgot some things." I stepped aside, gesturing her in. "Make it quick." When I sat on the couch, Emily was still standing in the doorway. I looked at her confused. "Aren't you coming in?" Emily kept her head down, clutching something behind her back that crinkled. Following the sound, I saw it was the trash bag I'd thrown out last night. Where did she dig that out? Disgusted, I stood in the doorway, afraid she'd bring it inside. Seemingly hurt, Emily froze. "You don't want any of this." She meant the gift she'd given me, now in the trash. Proof of our short-lived love, things I once treasured. Now, the thought of them inside felt repulsive. "Yeah, it's just clutter." Emily stood rooted for a long moment, then ripped the bag open, dumping everything on the floor. She crouched, rummaging frantically. "These are photo booth pictures from our first date. This is the bracelet I gave you when we first got together. These are the plaster dolls we painted." Finally, she pulled out the necklace engraved with her name. "Even this that you don't want it anymore?" In that moment, Emily's expression made me think she'd burst into tears if I nodded. I nodded vigorously. Yep, yep, yep. Don't want it. Take it if you want it. You could probably sell it for scrap." Hearing this, a flicker of light appeared in Emily's eyes, and she forced a pained smile. "Can I really take it?" Pathetically, Emily knelt, scooping the discarded items back into the ripped bag. I rolled my eyes, and she caught me. When I came back from getting water, Emily was by the door again, eyes brimming with tears. "Could I have a bag?" My stomach growling. I had no energy for this. I turned to the kitchen. "There's one on the table. Get it yourself." Emily fumbled at the door before coming in. Seeing me cook, she sat quietly at the table. She stared at my back, lost in thought. Looking at her, I wondered if the whole thing had scrambled her brains. I called her name several times before she snapped out of it, giving an apologetic smile. "Sorry, I just remembered how you used to cook for me in the kitchen like this. We were so happy then." "Emily," I cut her off sharply. "Have you gathered your things?" "Yes." "Then is there anything else?" I was clearly telling her to leave. Emily hesitated, then looked at the dishes. "Could I stay for dinner?" I stared, surprised. Braised pig brains, stirred fried duck hearts, scallion. Fried tripe. Didn't she hate this stuff? To avoid more awkwardness, I shut her down. "It's not convenient. You should go." Emily sensed my displeasure. "You really don't want to spend even one more second with me, do you? You don't even want to talk to me." She gave a bitter smile. "So you really hate me this much?" I lowered my gaze. Did I hate Emily? Not really. She'd exhausted every feeling I had. I didn't hate her. I just didn't want anything to do with her ever again. Seeing my silence, after a long standoff, Emily picked up her torn bag to leave. At the door, she turned back. David, about the day I said I wanted a divorce that it wasn't really. Her words stopped abruptly because she saw Lisa coming out of the bedroom. Wasn't really what? Lisa raised an eyebrow, walking to my side and eyeing Emily amusedly. Emily's eyes turned bloodshot. She lunged, grabbing a handful of Lisa's hair. What are you doing here? You too. Lisa didn't hold back, kicking Emily hard in the stomach. Emily stumbled, falling backward. Clutching her stomach, pale, she frowned, searching my eyes, maybe hoping I'd feel sorry for her, like before. No matter how angry I was, seeing her in pain used to soften me. Now, all I felt was disgust. Seeing I wasn't moved, Emily gritted her teeth, scrambled up, and swung at Lisa. Stop it! I yelled sharply. Emily froze. David, she hit me. I nodded. Yeah, I saw? Then why didn't you say anything to her? Why? I thought about her words. Maybe it was favoritism. Even now, the thought ached. That year at Emily's company party, she attended with Michael. When I arrived, they were gazing deeply at each other on the dance floor, a connection no one else could penetrate. I fought back the discomfort, struggling to stay calm. I thought if I made a scene, she'd be furious. When the song ended, Emily took Michael's hand and stepped off stage. Seeing me, Michael let go, giving an apologetic smile. Emily said you don't like these events, so she asked me to come with her. But the next second, in front of me, Emily took Michael's hand again, affection overflowing in her eyes as she looked at him. The dance is still going. Her words snapped my last composure. Anger and hurt surging, I yanked Michael away. You can't hold his hand. Emily, what are you doing? Her voice pierced the hall. Ethan, don't embarrass yourself. She shoved me hard, ran to Michael, and helped him up. I stared, tears blurring my vision. Emily, I'm your husband. Who do you choose? Him or me? In that moment, she looked at me like a stranger. A familiar ache spread. I took a deep breath, trying to erase the memory. Lisa's kick had been satisfying. That was enough. The past couldn't be changed. Let's eat. Lisa ate with gusto while I sat beside her, refilling her bowl. This is delicious. I'm so lucky to eat your cooking. Lisa had never been stingy with compliments, always finding good in me, telling me I was the best. I felt relaxed with her. After marriage, Emily never complimented me, but she only hated me and everything about me. Seeing me lost in thought, sympathy crossed Lisa's eyes. Sensing the awkwardness, I smiled apologetically, but Lisa looked serious. Thinking about the past again? I forced a casual smile. No, just wondering if there's enough rice. If it were me, I'd never make you sad. I froze, about to push her away, but met her intense gaze. She was serious. I averted my eyes, catching the scent of her body wash, unsure what to say. Silence is rejection. After a long moment, Lisa got up, returned to her seat, and ate enthusiastically, pretending nothing happened. This tripe is perfectly crispy. Amazing. Though she seemed carefree, I could tell she forced the smile. Lisa, I'm sorry. With a grain of rice on her lip, she heard me, dropped her chopsticks, and protested. It's okay, don't say that. Her reaction made me laugh. She stared, then laughed too. We talked for hours. She told me about the past few years, from home to abroad, starry nights to moonlit skies, sea to desert. Until the sun set. At the door, Lisa lingered. Can I really not stay one more night? I gave a firm no. Yesterday, it poured as Lisa left. Soaked. Without a change, I let her stay in the guest room. As for Emily's misunderstanding, letting her believe what she wanted wasn't so bad. After Lisa left, I sat on the sofa, thinking about her words at dinner. I sensed her feelings, but didn't know how to respond. She's great, but I couldn't jump from one relationship to another. That night, I couldn't sleep. Since then, Lisa showed up early every morning, urging me to finish breakfast so she could drag me to the mall, movies, beach. She acted like she'd never confessed, and I kept quiet too. The 30-day cooling-off period passed quickly. Emily and I stood again at the Civil Affairs Bureau entrance, but this time everything was different. Lisa stood by my side, while Emily stood alone. Before the official stamped the papers, Emily looked at me hopefully. David, I've thought about our relationship. If you don't want this, let's just finish this. I cut her off. Lisa and I plan to go to the aquarium. Lisa, it's always Lisa. Emily grew agitated at the name. I nodded. Yes, her. Her brow furrowed, eyes fixed on me. You rushed this divorce for her, didn't you? You two have been messing around behind my back. I laughed, looking at her like she was delusional. Emily, you were the one who gave me divorce papers. Her eyes flashed with panic. That was just because I was angry. Angry? A piece of paper to end our marriage, and she called it anger. I had no energy to argue. Whether you were angry or not doesn't matter. I just want to end everything related to you. She grabbed my hand, almost pleading. We were happy, weren't we? My tone turned mocking. Who was happy? Or do you mean you've changed your mind? Realized you love me? Emily fell silent, head lowered. Love you? How could I? The only one I love is Michael. I rolled my eyes. Good. Being loved by you would make me sick. The stamp landed on the divorce certificate. We were finally done. Before I got in the car, Emily ran over. If I hadn't given you those papers, would you have divorced me? I looked at her, searching for the vibrant woman she once was, but found nothing. We were always meant to part. Love can't survive lies and betrayal. Even without Michael, our relationship was doomed. That night, friends booked a room to celebrate my singlehood, but they had to work overtime, leaving Lisa and me awkwardly alone. I noticed her cautiousness, unlike her usual self. Lisa, I blurted suddenly. She jumped, spraying shredded potatoes. Why, yes. You like me, don't you? Her face flushed. Are you delirious? I'm serious. She hesitated, then met my gaze. So what if I do? I'm sorry, I said. You're my best friend, and I'm grateful. But I just got out of a marriage. I can't rush into something new. She forced a smile. It's okay. I'll wait. Days later, Emily called. I opened the door, blocking her entrance. She held out a gift box. This is for you. The shirt you wanted. It was identical to the one Michael wore in that birthday photo. Where did you get this? It's discontinued. A personal shopper, she stammered. I smelled her familiar perfume and scoffed. Did you take it off Michael's back? She froze. How did you know? Before the divorce, you tormented me. Now you still haunt me. No, David, I bought this for you. He just wore it. I stepped back to close the door. She jammed her hand in the gap, eyes welling. Tomorrow, Michael and I go abroad. Say you can't bear to let me go, and I'll stay. Let's leave each other with dignity, I said coldly. She laughed wildly, then sobbed. My phone buzzed. She saw Lisa's name and threw it to the ground. If I can't have you, neither can she. Are you together? Get lost, I said the first time I'd ever spoken to her that way. She knew it was over. The next spring, I landed a job at a tech giant. At the celebration, my phone pinged with a text. David, I'm sorry. I wish you happiness. I deleted it and returned to the party. My happiness is in my own hands. From now on, I will be happy every day. The end.